Welcome to the podcast. Today's guest is Gaz Fazackerley. Gaz, welcome.
Thanks very much, Dom. Thanks for having me on.
That's right, mate. Thank you for coming on. I know it's a bit late in the evening, but I really appreciate it. So thank you for that.
No, it's not.
For those that don't know you, mate, give us a bit of background, who you are and where it all started for you, and then we'll sort of move on from there.
I guess for me, I'll start at the beginning, really, should I? I started fishing quite a young age, really. I was, I guess, probably about six-ish, somewhere around there. Dad was a carp fisherman, so started fishing with him, took me out, and then grew up a little bit from there and started going on my own. I grew up in Surrey, so I fished a lot of the Surrey lakes, a bit around sort of the Yateley area, places like that. And that's my start of fishing, really, and where I started, and obviously progressed from there quite a bit, fishing various different venues, all sorts of places. But yeah, that's my probably the start of it, really, the start of my background.
Where on Yateley were you? Just to interrupt, sorry.
I've done a bit of it, actually. I've moved, I mean, obviously, before Farnham angling took over a lot of it, I fished, well, I tell you, actually, my very, very first ever 20 was out of Swan Valley. When it was day ticket, which was many, many moons ago, before they joined all the lakes in together and that. But yeah, that was when I remember I was 17, just literally passed my driving test, and it was the weekend after I'd passed, and I chucked all the gear in the car, drove down to Swan Valley, done a couple of nights. Yeah, first ever 20 I had out of there, so that would have been 20 odd years ago now. So so quite some time ago.
Brilliant. Where did it progress from there, mate?
So from there, I fished various little sort of day ticket venues and things like that, and a lot of the Farnham angling waters, so still water. Spent a few years on there, and I was a bailiff on there for a period of time. That was good,
Right.
good days then. And then I moved from that and sort of flitted around a little bit onto Match Lake, done a bit of Match Lake. Mill Lane, done a little bit of a dabble over at Mill Lane. It's a beautiful lake, that is. And then a few of the others, really. River Valley, I'd done a bit on River Valley before that got filled in as well. Great lake that was, really was a beautiful lake. You just get left alone to yourself there. It was amazing. But it got filled in. I'm not even sure what happened to it now. I guess I don't know if there's houses on it or what it is, really. But yeah, some of those. I never ever was fortunate enough to get properly, to get onto the car park and that. I fished nursery a bit. Done some time on nursery. That again was nice. Really nice lake. What other ones have I done around there? Obviously Sandhurst and things like that. Flitted around on some of the Sandhurst lakes and that. And that was good. And then I moved from there. I went over to Paper Court. Which was back then, I was on the CMEX ticket then, actually. So Paper Court. Fished some time on there. That was a big learning curve, really, for me, that was. I was used to fishing sort of small park lakes or little estate lakes, and that was, a massive, massive place. Well, it was massive. It was 30, I think it's 32 or 34 acres. So at the time it was daunting, it was a big lake, sailing boats out over the weekend, and it was just a steep learning curve, it was it really chucked in the deep end. But I've done a couple of years on there, some amazing fish out of there, and really nice. That was a nice chapter of my fishing, really.
Nice.
I did enjoy that place. I believe it's doing some really good fish now as well. That's come on leaps and bounds, that place.
Right. How did, obviously you mentioned that was sort of stepping up for you. What changed in your angling from fishing the smaller waters to going on somewhere a bit more substantial like that?
I think it was just the learning curve, really, of I suppose distance casting. Having to cast, having to bait accurately. The fish used to show. Come springtime, they were showing. From the house bank, what we used to call the house bank there. They would show out, really long in the middle of the lake, and you literally were down to, to fine lines and braided leaders, and just single pop-ups, casts horizon. it's not great angling, but it's the only way that you could pick up bites, and but then as the seasons progressed, they started coming in a bit closer, and you could catch them closer in, and you could see them, and that was it. It was gene clear. So stalking opportunities were brilliant in the summer on there. Really, really great.
Yeah. Nice.
But yeah, it was just just completely different from anything else that I had done. But then since then I've been on to quite a few other venues similar that have been quite similar sort of thing. And you just it's another string to your bow. You just learn it, don't you?
Yeah. Did you have to completely upgrade your gear?
I did, funny enough, actually. Yeah, I mean, I think at the time, I still remember when I first started on there, I had some Century NCS rods, and they were in a 3-pound test curve, and I just struggled. I could not hit the distance I wanted to hit properly. I stepped it up, 3.5-pound test curve rods, bigger reels, and I did have to upgrade everything really, just to get to do what I needed to do on there. And that takes some learning as well. Learning your gear really, doesn't it? And that's your tools. They're your tools, your trade really. And they have to become part of you, don't they? When you're fishing, that sort of thing. So you do have to learn how they react. I mean, every rod and whatever it casts completely different, doesn't it? So
yeah, absolutely.
And you adapt your casting style and everything else to suit the gear that you've got. So I did have to step everything up a bit.
Yeah, it's almost like starting again, isn't it? Fishing at distance with proper kit, I suppose.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm not the biggest, I'm not going to proclaim to be the biggest caster in the world at all, but I can cast a reasonable distance, and I can do it accurately as well, which is probably key as really, I think a lot of people can whack a lead as far as they want to whack it, but they don't know what they're fishing over. They can't feel it down properly. They're just casting to their eyes, and I think that's a big edge really, isn't it? Is being able to cast a reasonable distance, but do it accurately as well, and know what you're doing.
Yeah, definitely, and having to do it at night and in the wind and everything else.
Oh yeah, crosswinds, they're a beautiful thing, aren't they?
Yeah. The water I'm on when we get back from the lockdown, I'm on at the minute. It's got gravel work into it sort of 24/7. So there's various floodlights everywhere. So it's almost like fishing in the daytime and at night. If you're in the right swim, you can see it land.
I mean, I've fished a few park lakes, and I guess the flood, the street lights and the floodlights, they're good casting, markers, aren't they? Really. So so sometimes they can work for you, can't they? Because you see what you're doing out there.
Yeah, definitely. You mentioned obviously Surrey past tense. You no longer live in there.
I don't. No, 2 years ago, made a bold move really to move up to sunny Southport, up in the northwest. I moved up here with my wife and 2 kids. My mother-in-law lived up here. And I think we got to a point in our lives, really, as a family, especially me and my wife, that we just got fed up with life down there, really. Not that it's a bad place to be or live at all, but, and in terms of fishing, well, there's nothing better. The angling around there is just unreal, especially when you come up, up north. But yeah, for us, it was just the kids were at a point in the time where if we didn't do it then, we were never going to do it. We wanted to get away from there and just have a bit of a slower pace of life, and here we are. 2 years on. I don't have any regrets. I don't have any regrets at all. I do, don't get me wrong, I miss my friends, family, things like that. My fishing down there, I miss some of the lakes and the fishing that I was doing down there. But we're starting a new life here, and all going quite well at the moment.
Oh, brilliant! That's good to hear. How's your fishing going? Are you still fishing?
I am, yes, as much as I can do. Obviously, not right now. Right now is obviously a difficult time for everybody, and we're all chomping at the bit really for when the government say, yep, you can get out there. But yes, I am. So I've got a couple of tickets actually. So I've got a syndicate ticket for a lake up here, Twin Lakes. It's run by Southport Angling, but the actual the lake that is it has got a syndicate on it. So run by a great team of guys, and very up and coming water actually. This was stocked a few years ago. There's some good fish for up here in there. Around here, a lot of it is sort of small puddles, really, in fields and that. Unless I sort of move out and I get onto the sort of Cheshire border and that, and then there's some good waters there, which is where I will be going. But yeah, Twin, yeah, good, nice, nice little place. The guys on there are great, and they're all doing a really, really good job on there. And it will be a beautiful lake and a great venue in a few years to come.
Yeah, that's nice, isn't it? I mean,
It is.
that.
It's nice to see. I mean, I say I've been a member for a year, but the work that's been done in that time, hats off to those guys that are out there doing it. Obviously, we all do our little bit. I was down there actually recently the other day, helped build one of the swims down there and whatever else. So so it's good. We all do our little bit, and it's good, and that's how it's going to become a nice fishery, isn't it? Good, input from some good guys and good anglers. So there's that one, and then I've got a Prince Albert ticket as well. So that's my first year on Prince Albert. So as soon as we come out of lockdown and I can get down there, I will be walking the banks of Reedsmere. That's my plan at the moment. So I do this year on Reedsmere. I've got my eyes on another little water that's on their ticket, and sort of Cheshire way, which is rumoured to have a very good fish in it. So I need to investigate that a little bit. But what I do is I just drive down and just keep driving down there and having a walk around, having a look, and maybe that's one for sort of earmark for next year, really. But predominantly for this year, it's going to be the Syndicate Lake. It's only 20 minutes from me, and Reedsmere as well. Reeds is about an hour and 10 minutes away from me. So. So between those two waters, really, that's where I'm going to be this year.
Yeah, so you're going to be quite busy then.
Well, hopefully, and in between work as well. Obviously, I work full time as well, so So
what do you do for a living, Gaz?
So I am basically service manager for a car dealership. So we sell sports and prestige cars, and I'm just up in the Ribble Valley. So just the other side of Preston. So it's about an hour away from my actual home. So I commute each day listening to this podcast on my way there and back each day. So quite familiar with it all. So that's my job. I've been a technician for just over 20 years. I love it, but I got to a stage where I felt that I wanted to come off the tools. With any trade, I think when you've done it for so long, you get a bit bored of it. But now I run the workshop and the service department, which is great. I enjoy it. Good company to work for. Enjoying it. It's good.
I bet you get some nice motors in there as well, then, don't you?
Oh wow! All sorts in there. From we've had Lamborghinis in there. We've had Bentleys in there. All sorts of stuff. McLarens have had in there. Literally, all sorts, right the way down to, to smaller sports cars. Really, I suppose, like Focus RSs and things like that. We've got Morgan in the showroom at the moment. It's very diverse, but it means that it's all, it's quite exciting. Really, you get to get to drive all these nice cars. That's great.
Yeah. Which is your favourite? Which one do you like the most?
Wow. Do you know what? If I was to pick a car to suit myself right now, I would pick an Audi RS6, I think. I think that's that's what I'd like. I can
Have
chuck
they
all the
still got
fishing
the
gear.
V10 in
No, now they've changed, but yeah, that's what I would like is one of the V10 ones. Slightly older ones, a few years old.
there?
But yeah, what machines they are, and yeah, I
I
can
love a bit of kit.
get the fishing gear in the boot as well.
Yeah, get to the lake in record time.
Yes, exactly.
Wow. Yeah, no, good answer that, mate. Lovely bit of kit. Obviously, as well, I've got chatting to you on Instagram because you do a lot with Rigmarole.
Yeah, I do.
Why don't you sort of lead on to that a bit and tell us a
Yeah,
bit
so
about
if I lead on to rigmarole, really. So for me, I was part of the rigmarole team, so just a team member for rigmarole, which was great. Obviously, like you do, you share your catch reports, and we got chance to have a bit of input on some products and things like that. And it was great. And I started working some of the shows. Which that's a good experience, doing the shows, meeting lots and lots of people. That's great. And then one of the lads that was doing the media side of things, he had a baby, a new baby, and just decided that he needed to concentrate his efforts really on that. So there was a position there, and it was I kind of got thrown into it a little bit, really, because I said, well, look, I put my hands up and said, look, I don't know masses about it, but I'm willing to learn. And if I can help, and help out where I can,
Yeah.
Whereas now I do all, do all the social media side of it. I've got a couple of other guys there. I've just brought my mate Ian on. He's doing, helping me out with some of the video work and that. We've done quite a bit of that recently. We're just all editing up. I've got Mike Mahannon. So he is one of our consultants. Very good with our products and that. So he helps out a bit on the media side. And then Dan, who used to do it. Dan still has a bit of input in there if we need a bit of help or opinions on things. Dan helps, but the likes of the posts on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, they're all generated and run by myself. And a lot, obviously I've got 3 directors there. Nigel, John, and Mark. Nigel was the original guy that set the company up in 1996.
I was going to say, it's been around for a while, hasn't it?
Yeah, it has. It has. And then it got sold to Maruku because Nigel fell ill. And then they brought it back off of them, and John came on board with him. And then just last year, Mark come on board as well. And so they're all equal partners. They all own a third of it. But they're very, they're good. I'm not going to say leave me alone to it, but I do have quite a big input on everything, really. If I could generally make decisions in terms of media, and they just say yes, just carry on, sort of thing. They're all good guys. It's a good company to be with, really. It's quite niche, and it's growing, which is good. And I think. The social media side of it, obviously we've got a team of boys, which now we've managed to sort of tune down a bit, and they're all, all good guys, all different styles of angling. So, so that's quite good. The input from them is all quite, it's quite diverse. So it's quite good. But we do, some great products, and that's really, I've used the products for quite some time before I even joined them. And when the opportunity came up to come on board, I jumped at the chance, really, because it's something I've used, and have confidence in using, and I've done it for quite a few years. So why wouldn't you, it's I enjoy it. It's very good. Say the shows, I love doing the shows and meeting lots of people and just showing them, just showing them the products and and things like the tubing. Have you seen many of our products, Tom? Have you
in the past, I have, not recently. So talk about them by all means.
I'll go through a couple of them, really. I think that the few main ones, really. The biggest one is our tubing. Our tubing is unlike any other tubing you've got out there. So it's got a like a highly polished marine grade stainless steel core through the middle of it. Okay, so it's like a spring almost inside, and then on the outside you've got it's braided, so it's got a nice fleck on there, so it breaks up a bit on the bottom. But the beauty of it is, you can just thread it. Whereas a normal tubing, you get mustard it yourself. You get halfway down it and you get stuck, don't you? And it's the most frustrating thing in the world. But that stuff you can. The standard one you can thread £20 line down it easy, and it'll just keep going through, and there's no snags on it. It glides through it. It's absolutely amazing stuff. We do it in a wide bore one as well now, which you can actually thread braided main line down there without a threader or anything like that. It just just sails through it. We just keep feeding it through, which is quite remarkable, really. So we do that. The CAM H2O, the fluorocarbon, that's probably a lot of that and the Hydrolink people's favourites, really. So the CAM H2O is fluorocarbon's like your stiff fluorocarbon. Doing a 15, 20 and a 25 pound breaking strain. So for your chods, hinge, stiff rigs and everything else, it's perfect for that. But the beauty of it is you don't need to steam it, you see. So it's got zero memory on it, and it's got an element of stretch to it. So you pull it, you just pull it. We have a couple of puller tools, pull it straight, and that's it. Your boom sections stay straight. And if they crink up a bit, you just re-stretch them. It's quite amazing stuff. And then probably the other key one really is the Hydrolink. That's braided outer with a fluorocarbon through the centre section of it. So it's quite clever. So what you can actually do is create like hinge stiff rigs and things like that just with one material. So you haven't got to put a swivel in the middle. You can poke the fluorocarbon out through the braid, snip it, and then put it all back together. So you've actually got the brake and the hinge in one piece of material. So it's quite it's clever stuff. It is very clever stuff. Free fall leg clips, I suppose. That's probably the other one to have a brief talk about. They're quite unique. So they work in a completely different way to a standard lead clip. What you actually do with them is you have the tail rubber that goes, threads on to your leader or your line, whichever you want to do it. And then they've got a little groove through the top of them. So that slots in and the swivel pushes into it. But what happens is when you get a take and the fish shakes its head or whatever, or it becomes snagged up in a bit of weed, the whole clip releases. It leaves the tail rubber on the leader, but the whole clip releases. You lose your clip and you do lose your the lead, but what you haven't done is lost a fish, snagged a fish, or something like that. So for fish safety, they're paramount. Obviously, we just released those as well in a biodegradable, which is a first for the market, and hopefully, the rest of the tackle companies will follow suit and start bringing some sort of products like that out. Anything that gets obviously left behind. I mean, ditching leads. If you're fishing weedy situations, it is key. I don't think we're ever going to see a lead that's not lead, are we? It's as such. It's that's just one of them things. But because of our system, because you ditch the clip as well, for us, we had to look at it and think, right, okay, well, let's try and do something that's a bit eco-friendly. So hopefully, it's a step in the right direction for to help save the lakes really, and the fish, and and the ecosystems and everything else there. The last thing we want is lots of big chunks of metal being dumped in there, because our old clips were metal, you see. So that's why we felt the need to change.
Yeah, nice. That sounds like a really smart product, actually.
Yeah, it's good. It's clever stuff, and I think that's the key thing is that none of our products are generic. They're all very very unique, well thought out, but they're not the same as what you can walk into off another manufacturer's stand in a tackle shop. You're not going to find the similar products in there because we are the only ones that do that. We've got patents on quite a few of them. So it means that most of our products can't get copied. So we managed to keep that quite nice and niche, really, which is good. I think it's a lot of lads, when I moved up here, a lot of lads have maybe heard of it or seen a bit of it, but never really used any of it. And I think that it's probably more a southern-based company, and I think most of the team boys and stuff like that are based down there. But the last Northern Angling show I'd done, well, we sold absolutely masses. People couldn't get enough of some of it. So yeah, it's good. Yeah, very good, mate.
Brilliant. Yeah, really good. Yeah, and actually pushing it sort of further north as well.
Yeah. It's I think it's good. Really, we need to branch out a little bit. And it's nice to. I think as an angler, if I was on the other side of the fence, to look at some of the products, and as quite as often the guys at the shows do, they've not seen anything like it before, so it amazes them, as such, and they're like, wow, now this is new, and there's not much out there on the market really now that you could, that you couldn't, from company to company, they're all very similar, the products, aren't they? But ours are quite unique. So no, it's good. Yeah, it's very good.
Yeah, brilliant. How much time do you spend in your day or your week sort of doing your rigmarole stuff?
Probably too much, Dom. A reasonable amount. Most evenings. Most evenings I'm doing something. Whether it is just generating posts for the next few days or just getting content off of the boys, chatting to some of the team lads on the phone, just to run ideas past and say, look, will you be able to try and do this for me? At the moment, I've got a lot of editing work. I was just before lockdown, actually, I was on Raysbury. And we done a load of filming down there. So there will be about a 15-minute film, 20-minute film coming out, which is quite good. It's mostly me on there. A couple of the other lads have done a couple of bits. Alistair White, one of my consultants, he done a talk on a couple of the products and the rigs that he uses, and then Jake Hereford as well. He did one on solid bags, which Jake is a bit of a whiz with solid bags, so that was good for me to watch. Actually, it's not really anything that I use particularly, but that was good. Nice few days there, caught a few fish, some absolutely stunning fish there, so that was great. So at the moment I've got lots of that. I'm doing editing up some of that, and I bought a new editing program, so I've been teaching myself that as well. Got to grips with that. So I just bought LumaFusion, and I've got an iPad Pro now as well, which is I think everybody tends to think that you should be editing this sort of thing on a laptop, but oh my god, has that made it so much easier? It really has. But yeah, LumaFusion is what I'm using at the moment. For the video work, and it's great. It really is. It takes a bit of getting your head around, but it's good. And I'm still learning it. I've grasped the basics of it and managed to get everything together. And each day I'm doing a bit more, and then I scrap it and then I start it again. And so it's I think some of the videos I've done, I've chopped about and so many times now. But it's good learning. It is good learning, and for anyone getting into that sort of thing, and I can thoroughly recommend that program. It is good, and there's loads of tutorial videos. YouTube is your biggest friend really these days, isn't it?
Yeah, anything in life these days you can go on there and find out.
Tell me about it. I know. It is great. It is great. But so I've been do a lot of that. But a lot of them say I generally I'll get home from work at, I don't know, 6:30, between 6:30 and 7 most evenings. And I have my tea, and then that's it. I've got a laptop on my iPad out, and I'm either answering emails or questions on Facebook or Instagram. As well as say, like, creating the next sort of post or adverts or anything like that. So it's good. I mean, I've got a guy that does we've got a guy that we pay to do our website thing, and he creates some of the adverts and banners, and then but between us, I work with him quite well. He's very good. It's that side of it is good, but it does take up a lot of my time. But I don't. I don't dislike it at all. I quite enjoy doing some of it. Sometimes you just think, oh God, but then that's with anything, isn't it? Any work like that.
Yeah, of course. There's going to be ups and downs, and then
you're probably like that doing this, aren't you, Tom?
The only thing that has annoyed me so far, my internet played up I don't know, about 10 days ago, and it was just dire to the point where it kept cutting in and out.
Yeah.
And I had to like hotspot from the iPad just to get some form of connection.
Nothing ever goes easy, does it?
Yeah, especially that was obviously my main concern because obviously pre-lockdown, all my recordings were done face to face, so I'd
Yes.
go and meet whoever and sit there with the laptop out and the mic plugged in. We just do it like that by the
Yeah.
lake.
Yeah. Have you found it doing this way? Have you found it better, or I mean, obviously you're not traveling around various venues.
Yeah,
But
obviously there's no travelling involved. It's different in a way because obviously there's you don't get a delay, but obviously if you're sort of sat face to face, it just flows better because you know when someone's going to pause or break or
absolutely, yeah.
So there's that side of it. But yeah, this is I mean it's a doddle and just pull up my seat, open a beer, and off you go. I'm actually not.
That's the key thing, isn't it? Got your beer next year.
Yeah,
I think your
decided-
message said actually the other week that you bought yourself a big keg or something, didn't you?
yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a guy that I know. We did some plumbing works for him. They've opened up a new bar. They've got a brewery, small like micro brewery, but they opened up a little bar as well. So we did the plumbing works there, and obviously they're closed, but they quickly got a website up and running to sell and deliver it locally, just to the local postcodes. So I was like, oh, I have some of that. Yeah, so
Don't blame you.
yeah, it's lovely.
Yeah, I've been having a few gins throughout the evening. I'm a bit partial to a gin in the evening.
Yeah, well, I put my work trousers on last week, and I was like, it was like a bit of an event trying to get the button done. I was like, oh dear.
Yeah, I'm not looking forward to that. I've got I go back on the 11th to work,
Right.
and I'm pretty sure I'm going to be doing the same. Actually, I think you're at home more, you tend to eat more, drink more. It's
Yeah, you're not moving around as much, are you?
no, that's it, exactly that.
Yeah. So are you furloughed at the minute
I
then?
am,
Or-
yeah. So I when they first announced lockdown, that was that was when I stopped working. Then, well, funnily enough, I was actually on the night or the day that we locked down. I was still at Raysbury, so
Right.
they locked everything down. I got a call from work saying, right, okay, I think we're going to shut. So we made the decision we were shutting. And then so then I had to pack up from Raysbury and drive back up here really. So one of the most amazing drives ever. The roads were absolutely dead. They really were. It's great. Yeah.
I was similar. I just got set up on my local lake to do. The plan was to do a long session. I think loads of water, loads of food.
Yeah.
And then obviously they announced it, and the angling club like, you need to go home now. I was like, my van was stuck in the mud.
Oh, you're kidding.
I'll deal with it if we're going to get nice weather. I'll let the grass just go off a little bit, and then I saw it then. So I messaged the bailiff, and I was like, I can't go home. I'm stuck in the mud.
What a great excuse.
Yeah. And he came and pulled me out the next day in the end. I was like, thank you. Yeah.
It's brilliant. So did you have any fish?
No. It's about 100 acres. There's
okay.
a few fish in there.
Yeah. That's a big old lake.
Yeah, I'm still very much getting used to it and finding sort of, feeling my way around it. But
yeah.
I don't
Whereabouts
think
is that, Tom? What sort of area?
Water park.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm lucky. I live right by there. I don't think they're particularly riggy or anything like that. It's just obviously location.
Absolutely.
I think if you're on them in there, you'll catch them definitely.
I think it's the same with any big pit, isn't it? It's your location is probably it's paramount. Really, it's one of the key things. Get that right, and they're just like any other fish to catch, aren't they?
Yeah, no, definitely. So I'm looking forward to get back there. I'm not sort of chomping at the bit. I don't know. It's sort of. I don't know, really. I've accepted it. I'm sort of almost pretending that fishing isn't there, if you like, at the minute. It's pointless getting wound up by it, isn't it?
I think you're right, and I think also as well, you're probably similar-ish age to me, or maybe but we used to have a close season. And everything. That close season, it shut down. You couldn't go fishing. Simple as that. And we just dealt with it. But nowadays, because we are lucky and we are able to angle 365 days a year, give or take, You know, we don't understand it. You know, and a lot of, I guess, anglers new into it. They don't know what that was like. Whereas, you know, back then, there was close season. You know, and the canals and the rivers and everything else. So some of them still do now, but you couldn't go and fish them. Some of the lakes you couldn't fish. You know, and that's just the way it was then. But I've got to be honest. At the moment, I could do with getting out. I really could. Just a night or something. But I know what's going to happen. It's going to get lifted, and then I am going to be back at work anyway. So
same as that, or they're going to be spawning, or both.
Well, there is that to it. Yeah, I mean, the temperatures we've had, very possibly, they could start thinking about it. But it's quite exceptional weather, really, for the time of year, isn't it?
It's like a double whammy.
Yeah, I think it's pretty crap, really, being in lockdown and not being able to go out and do what you want to do, but actually just look at it, the plus side of it. All these, I've had now 4 weeks or whatever it is, off, and managed to get stuff done in the garden. You sat in the sun, and it's brilliant, isn't it? So that side of it is, if it was rainy and gloomy and all the rest of it, then we would all be in a different moods, wouldn't we? I think.
Yeah, absolutely. No, good point, mate. On that note, do you think we should bring close season back?
Do you know, that's a very good question. I think that the close season has a benefit. And I think that these days the fish are very, very pressured on all lakes, and they don't get a rest. And so there's some lakes that have areas where they can go to where you can't fish, out of bounds areas and things like that. But they're all pressured fish, and there's always somebody on the bank, and it's just the sport is growing, and the amount of anglers that are coming into the sport as carp anglers, really, and not experienced, not been there like we probably did, as sitting there watching a little stick float catching tench. A lot of people are new into it, straight into that, so they're on these day ticket fisheries and wherever else, and the fish are not getting a rest, are they? Do I think that we should bring it back? Do you know what? I do think that it's probably beneficial to the lakes. It gives everything. It's not just the fish, really, not just about them. It's about the trees, or the bushes, or the reeds that and it gives everything a chance to just regenerate itself, doesn't it? For a couple of months. I don't think it's a bad thing whatsoever, really. And probably a lot of people would disagree because they'd be in a situation they wouldn't be able to fish. But it's a tough one, really, isn't it? Because probably for a lot of people, angling is their little get out. And it goes, it contributes to sort of mental health and things like that quite a lot. So, for people, if there was a closed season and people couldn't do that, then, spirits may get quite low, probably like it does now, like it is at the moment. But, it is a hard one, really.
Yeah. I think you're right. I think I said the same to Rob Hughes. Because the weather's so inconsistent, sort of year on year, I think a fixed one like the old style close season probably wouldn't work. It was, the fish spawn sort of. There's no structure, is there? Because we never know what we're going to get.
No.
It's
no, you're right.
I think, for the sort of rejuvenating, the undergrowth and everything, even the grass on the banks where there isn't all that footfall.
No.
And stuff.
Yeah, exactly that. But it is a tough one. I mean, the last lake before I moved up, I was on Friendly Pit 3, and as soon as they start spawning on there, that's it. The lake's shut, and it's shut for 2 weeks. And if they started up again, it would shut again, And I do really think that is important. I think that that's good fishery management, really. And I think that if the fish are showing signs of spawn, then that's it. The fishery shuts down. It doesn't matter whether it's day ticket. I get that day ticket fisheries, it's their livelihood and whatever else. But if people are going to be fishing for fish that are clearly spawning and hooking them, and whatever else, because the fish are just crazy that sort of time of the year, and and they will get foul hooked and things like that, and it doesn't do them any favours whatsoever. I think that's probably a key thing. Maybe not the close season, but I think that it should be that if fisheries really, if they're spawning fish, and I think most decent fisheries do that, don't they? And, lakes clubs, but they should close down for that spawning period.
Yeah, no, good answer, mate. Thank you for that. If we just quickly move on to like the rotary style letter question.
Yeah.
This has gone a bit out of order because I had a bit of a recording nightmare earlier. So your question won't correlate with the last one, but
okay.
Hey, it was bound to happen at some point.
Let's go. Let's see then.
Yeah, yours is pretty straightforward. So it's just a case of if you could only fish one of these two, for the rest of your fishing, which would it be? And that's just a pop up or a bottom bait, and why?
Hands down for me, a pop up. 90% of my fishing is done with pop ups, but I do fish them quite low. So in terms of rigs, I am a big fan of just like a little multi-rig, but quite balanced as well, quite critically balanced, so that the pop-up is just sort of not quite a wafter. The hook is set up, but it is quite, just wafting around, quite slow sinking. So they will only be popped up, just a small amount. So I've fished pop-ups and I've fished chod rigs and things like that before that have been a good few inches, but I do always fish pop-ups, and I do fish them quite low. Reason for that is, I guess my baiting scenarios, really, that's probably one of the key things as to why I do that. I do use boilies. I don't tightly pack them, so I will scatter them with a throwing stick or a catapult. Generally, I will scatter baits, so I'm getting them coming in, trying to create a feeding scenario where they're picking the bait up and then righting themselves, dropping down for the next one, So that style of rig and that style of angling works for me. I'm not going to say, I do spot out fish particle as well. When I was just at Raysbury in the last session I've done, I brought a load of particle from PB Particles, actually, local guy up near me. So got a load off of him, and I was spotting hemp and maize, and I was fishing, but I was actually fishing small pop-ups, just really, really balanced over the top of it. But for me, hands down, pop-ups really is. And I used to fish bottom baits, but I don't know. I have a bit of a thing about, baits coming back smelling silty and things like that. So for me, a pop up that's just critically balanced, really.
Okay, cool. Nice one. Thank you for that. Have you got a question we can ask our next guest, please, Gav?
That's a very, very good question, actually. For the next guest, I think maybe about a bait edge. I think what would be your biggest bait edge? Probably one that you'd like to announce and let everybody know about. Most of the point, but what would be your biggest bait edge and why?
Bait edge and why? Great. Biggest bait edge that I'll just make a note that you can share.
Yeah, I think that's quite a good one, really, isn't it? It's quite it can be quite diverse, that, really.
Yeah, that can make the difference, especially on a sort of trickier water, can't it?
I always prep my baits up. I'll give them a good glug and and whatever else. I always prep them. They're never straight out the bag. So I think that's quite a good one.
Nice, brilliant. Thank you, Gaz. Thanks very much for that. And just one more thing before you go, because I know it's getting on a bit.
Yeah.
Can you draw a carp in 60 seconds and send me a picture of it and a video?
I can attempt to.
Quite amusing doing some of the entries coming in, I have to admit. So
I'll give it a go. I shall do it. Yeah, I should do it after we finish off. Yeah.
Yeah, well, no rush, mate. If you've got things to do, just by the end of lockdown, really.
Yeah, that's fine. Absolutely fine, mate. I'll sit there and do it in the morning, first thing tomorrow morning. Yeah. That can be my early morning task, I think. Give me something to do.
Okay, Gaz, right. Thank you very much for coming on. Really appreciate it.
No, absolute pleasure, Dom. Yeah, thanks for having me on.
Okay, take care, mate.
Cheers, buddy. Bye-bye.